Hey guys, I'm Rachel at Journey Back Custom Quilts, and today I'm going to show you how to do some cutting on your fabric so that you can get straight lines and good cuts without wasting all of your fabric. I'm attempting to do this on two different devices, so that one is on Instagram and one is on Facebook, so my whole audience can see at the same time. So please bear with me as I get all of the stuff going here. So the first thing is you will want a rotary cutter. So this rotary cutter is a 45 milliliter. This is the one I typically use. The rule I always tell my students is when you open it and you're going to cut, you're going to keep your thumb on the little, I don't know what you call it, the little button there. And you're always going to cut away from your body and only one slice. It's not a pizza, so you're not going to go back and forth, okay? So that's the first rule. Second rule is you always close your rotary when you're going to put it down. That way you don't accidentally grab it when it's open and cut your fingers off. The other thing I like to use is the Fiskars rulers. They seem to be the ones that I like the most. The 12.5 by 12.5 is the one that I use the most, but I just got one of the 6-inch by 24-inch rulers, so that can be a helpful tool as well. And then you'll need a self-healing cutting mat. Let's see if I can lift it up here with grids on it. I like a really large mat. That way, if you are making longer cuts, you can use your mat as part of your measurements. Okay, so with your fabric, you'll want to press it first. And I press this one a little bit. It might be a little bit wrinkly now, but so the first thing you do is you hold your fabric selvage to selvage. The selvage is the part that either has a white strip on the side or it has the holes on the side. That's where they tack the fabric onto the machine before they print the color onto it. Okay, so you're going to hold that in your hand and then fold it in half. And then I hold the selvage edge up with my fingers in between the slit right there, okay? Then you're going to look at the bottom down here and make sure that all of the threads are running the same direction. Now, how do you do that? You're going to see if there's a wrinkle at the bottom of that little loop down there, okay? So if you put your fabric pieces together, and if you were to cut it like that, I'll show you what happens. So look at the bottom. Can you see that kind of wrinkle down there? If you were to cut like that, let me just show you what would happen. I'll do a little cut here real quick. Okay. Now you can see that it's not straight. Can you see that big bump in the middle there? It's because my threads weren't lined up completely straight, okay? So it's all wonky. So we go back, hold the selvage edges up to the top, okay? And then you're going to move the fabric over. See if I can back up so you can see it all. So you're going to move your fabric a little bit at a time until that bottom portion hangs like a hammock, okay? So they're all going the same direction. And then I'll lay my fabric down and let me adjust the camera so you can see the table. So bear with me for a second. Okay. Hopefully now you can see it better. Okay, so I have my folded edge down here and my selvage is up here, and all the threads are running the same direction now. So when I fold the selvage edge over, you'll see on the end here, they're not lined up at all. Can you see that? So that is how we get a straight edge when we first cut our fabric. A lot of times when fabric comes off the bolt, it's not cut perfectly square. If you buy your fabric at a quilt shop, it should be pretty close. But if you're getting fabric from any big box store like Walmart or Hobby Lobby, a lot of times it's rolled on the bolt, not very nicely, so it's not going to come off very nicely and get cut nicely. So this is how you would square up your fabric, okay? So I'm lining up this bottom crease with a line on my ruler, and I've got it at 11¼ inch here. And I'm just going to try to get all 4 of those layers so that I have a clean cut. All right. Now I'm right-handed, so you are on the video a little bit backwards, so you'll just have to think of this flip-flopped in your mind. So once I have a clean cut, then I'm going to flip the fabric around. But I'm going to do that gently so that all 4 layers stay on there, okay? Also, I probably have 2 or 3 yards of fabric right here, but I only worried about this first maybe 2 feet, because as you work down, as long as you've squared it up, you'll be fine. So I just spin it around gently. Okay, and then in my classes, we try to organize all of our fabric cutting so that we have minimal waste. So with our beginners quilting class, we first are doing a 14-inch cut. So let me show you how to do that. Since my ruler is only 12½, we're going to have to use the grid on the cutting mat here, which I have it backwards for myself. So we're going to line it up at the 0 mark right here, and then count out to 14, and then line our ruler up with that 14-inch mark to the 14-inch mark. Now I'm backwards, so I'm at 19 here, which is probably, let's see, 12, 13, 14. I'm a little bit big. There's the 14-inch mark. Okay, so once you have that lined up on the line and your fabric is squared with your mat down here, then you can make that cut. So you want to press hard on your ruler, but not too hard that you're going to shift it when you cut, okay? So line that up, and just even pressure starting with your rotary on the edge of your ruler, and just press hard all the way through, okay? It's important that you have a sharp blade. If your blade's getting dull, it's going to be really hard to cut through that fabric, especially all 4 layers of your fabric, and then you'll want to replace your blade. I probably replace my blade every project to 2 projects or so, depending on how big they were and how much cutting I had to do. So that's my first 14-inch. Now we need a 14-inch square. So I'm going to move that over. We want to cut this selvage off. So we open it up, it's still doubled over, and I'm going to fold it lengthwise in half as well. That way, my ruler will have some ruler hanging over the top and the bottom of my fabric, and I won't have to scoot it up. Again, I line up the bottom. My brain's going bye-bye tonight. My seam here with a line on my ruler, and just scoot it as close to the selvage as I can, and then we'll cut that off. And flip it around. Then I'm going to line it back up with the 0 mark. And cut another 14-inch square. And since my fabric is doubled up, when I do this first cut, I will have 2 14-inch squares. There's 1. There's 2. And the other cool thing in my class is we mark everything with fun little stickers. That way we keep everything organized, and we'll even put it in Ziploc bags according to which block it's going to go in. That way when we're ready to sew, we just pull out that one bag and all of our pieces are ready to go. So this is what my students learned this last week. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Yeah, I think that was about it. Is there anybody who has any questions or wants to see more? This is a great way of eliminating a lot of waste. So you always start with your biggest cut, and then from that you can cut that strip into smaller cuts. So say your next piece was going to be a 12.5-inch square, then you could just use your 12.5-inch ruler and line it up with that cut that you just made. Cut the little piece off, and now you'll have a 12.5-inch square. And that didn't go as I planned, but that's okay. So you just cut this, and then you'll rotate your fabric and cut this piece. Now you have a 12.5-inch square. Okay, let me put the camera back up here so I can see all the comments here. Okay, any questions? I know that was probably really fast and very stumbly. I am still trying to get used to doing lives, and I'm just not very good at them yet, so bear with me. I am an introvert, and this is definitely out of my comfort zone, but I love teaching, and I love kids, and I love hanging out with you, so let me know how I can help with your projects, and if you want to learn something specific, and I will try to make a video for you. I hope that helps you, Susan, as you get cutting this week, and we'll see you on Friday. Can't wait to see you guys in Lena and hear about your trip. So we'll talk to you all later. Thanks. Bye.